Kingdom, and the United Kingdom is the three city-states. Contrary to what most people in England think, that the UK is the Britain alliance with Ireland and Scotland, but that's not the UK. The UK is the UK proper is the United Kingdom of city-states. There's three of them that had to unite to form a three city-state empire. But um, this shit was pretty fucking intense. I could even actually feel the energy move as the people was posting. This shit was crazy. Kept me bedridden all day. All I could do was post and lay down. So, um, I was looking at the at Twitter. Twitter blew my wig back because I was scrolling Twitter for about 5 or 10 minutes, and all I could see was free Larry Hoover shit, free Larry Hoover shit, free Larry Hoover shit. The same with Facebook. When I go down my news feed, 90% of what I was seeing was free Larry Hoover, and it's the same with my Instagram news feed. And I haven't had a chance to I haven't had a chance to check on TikTok. But if Twitter blowing up, like, that's where the heat at. The heat is on Twitter, because it's hot on Instagram and Facebook. But Zuckerberg team got some kind of way that they blocking people, right? Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let me show y'all what I'm talking about. Facebook and Instagram blocking people from sharing the posts like that right there. So she said, so basically Facebook disconnected my feed so I could not post free Larry Hoover, right? And a couple more people had told me that throughout the day, so I'm imagining how many of us that they wouldn't let post it, but a lot of us still got through. A whole lot. So this was intense. And the turnaround time on something with this much activity should be 72 hours or less. So that means by Friday we should be hearing something in relation to all of this activity on all social media platforms about free Larry Hoover. So they gonna have to write some kind of speech for Joe Biden, or they gonna have to reach some kind of motherfucking agreement, write some speech for Kamala Harris, or they gonna just have to get out the way and let the chief speak, right? So the sisters can tell you better than me. They feeling this shit, right? So I'm I'm empathic and telepathic, but my senses is not as in tune as these oracles. They are more in tune than me. I just know how to read mind because I know me more accurate than a lot of readers, because a lot of readers don't know the additional languages that they dealing with, and how to translate that shit, right? Like a great oracle, but she doesn't know how to translate all the spiritual meanings. Alexis, she out cold, but she don't know how to translate it and tie it into the other shit around her so that she can get the true meaning. Like a GPS giving you a location. But I was sitting here getting ready to give y'all update. I was supposed to did this earlier, but I wasn't functional. Like my brain kept going dry, cold. I would say. I'd rather say cold. Ooh, she say she went to. She feeling it for sure. She hugged the tree, and all she could do was cry. Look, now we at the part where if they don't answer us in what you would call a reasonable amount of time, which I believe in this case is 72 hours, this is where the Star family become authorized to intervene on our behalf because we demanding it. So now you will see more sky activity, which I hate talking about that shit because we don't focus on what's going on the ground enough to be talking about what's going on in the stars. But that shit here, this shit was fucking. Look, I dreamed about an Anunnaki last night. That's the first time in this incarnation I ever dreamed about an Anunnaki. This big ass motherfucking coward ass nigga was like 9 feet tall, and he was crying over a girl that I know. But that shit was crazy. She came to help me do some fucking labor, and this motherfucker peeping around corners and shit, scared to show himself until he seen I wasn't gonna beat his motherfucking ass. And I told him, come on out of hiding. And I also dreamed about my mama last night. Now, me and my mama tight. She could telepathically talk to me from the other side, but I don't dream about her a lot. So all this shit is converging. My sister right under me, um, her birthday is Friday too, so all this shit converging together, you know. So it's amazing. I mean, like I'm watching it unfold, and to see that we really want our shit back surprised the shit out of me, because I did not believe that no matter what we did, that we really wanted our shit back for real. But the rule is that the king, the chiefs on the land have to give an address openly to the public upon sufficient public notice and public demand. We met that. That's the oral tradition that overrides a written tradition. And so now that the people done called forth the chiefs, now the only thing is if they don't produce the chiefs, it's going to be a side effect. A very, very, very bad side effect. So don't take it personal. You know, it's not you. Um, yeah, I was hoping that we pulled from what I've been seeing over the last couple of years. The woke motherfuckers is the biggest obstacle. The ones who really don't know, you can give them information to go research, and when they find out you right, they with it. But when those diet woke motherfuckers, they say they woke, right? Them motherfuckers not coming to get on my platform and not finna let me on theirs. Ask them niggas. Ask them niggas. Any one of them niggas. Now I'm gonna tell you, if you want to know who didn't put me on a platform that's supposed to be woke. I done been on Crumb Snatcher platform over 3 years. He was the first one to open the door. He don't know what the fuck I be talking about sometimes, but he know I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Tasmaniac out of Chicago and put me on the show several times. But these other motherfuckers, yep, that Pluto return finna hit their ass hard because we did our part in calling forth the chiefs of the land, and now if they don't show up, now they authorized to blow this bitch to smithereens until they start seeing something. So they using the to distract us from what's going on while they tell us what's going on at the same time. So they had a good. That's the best Sleepy Joe impersonation I've seen in the 2 years that this shit been going on. So this motherfucker didn't gave these motherfuckers ultimatums and shit, but he said he ain't got no intentions of going to war. Motherfucker, if you don't got no intentions of going to fucking war, you won't have no motherfucking leg to stand on handing out an ultimatum. That's the dumbest shit up. That's what I say. Blow all this shit up, start all over. But it's a lot of people that don't want to, look, Putin ain't doing none of the shit they saying he doing. All that smoke and mirrors. We can clean up the BS, right? We have to do what you call a reenactment, where a redeemer have to um, show their level by enacting the rights of the hero of the story. So in order to raise itself to the level of full embodiment of the overall energy, you have to go through the experience on the spiritual plane. You have to go through the same experience that the hero of the story endured in order to embody the virtues, strengths, and things like that from that hero. So now, I'm not going to do no more invites because they can watch the replay because it's not going to be long. So now, we go through all of the mythology. Remember, we was Hansel and Gretel, and what we were doing was collecting breadcrumbs on our way home. So watch this. These are my breadcrumbs. I'm about to show them to y'all. All right. Now, this was my connection to the Via kings, the vicarious kings of the seas. Right? Look at this. This is all Norseman, Irish Gaelic. Right? Now, this is what you see here when the master, see, as above, so below. So you see he's writing. I have to decode some shit for y'all today in here. Remember, I'm coming out the Blue Lodge, right? Pandora's box. What did they let out the box? The fucking gorilla. This Tupac. This is the musician, or right here. Remember the forbidden apple. Now you remember you seen the apple in the heart center, so you had to get the forbidden apple, right? And this is called the Star of Life. Then from the Wiccans, you had to get your Athame in order to cast your sacred witch's circle. And then from the natives, you get your sage. You get your sage. This is what Lady Liberty is holding up, the sage. The sage is another way of saying priest. And the sage is the one that's to come in the end. So what you see Lady Liberty holding up as the torch is a burning sage plant, because she has to, the sage has to ward off the wicked. So you have that, and you know you always have to have the implements of the scribe, which is represented by the pencil. And this here is dragon's blood ink, meaning that I had to slay the dragon to get it. But it's symbolic. It's not literal. It's symbolic. It's just giving me messages. So I'm showing you how I'm collecting my breadcrumbs along the path. Now look, the spotted dog. This dog is made out of a certain material called jasper. You know. So if you go back and look in the Bible, it talk about the jasper stone. But the dog represents loyalty. Right? Now later on, depending on how the format run, when I present the receipts, I might go over more detailed meanings of some of this stuff. Now this represents the hammer. Remember yesterday when I went over Putin, as I took Thor's hammer, the thunder, the god of thunder has been defeated. That's the symbolic of me taking his hammer, right? You see the two wolves right here? The two wolves? That's just symbolic. Those are signs I'm following. Now here is the stone. Now here is the stone the builders rejected. Right here, the black stone here became the chief cornerstone. There is no other stones available except for the apple was made out of white onyx. Now, when you get over here, this is the Excalibur. This is King Arthur's sword that it was in my car yesterday when I was showing Putin that I can remove the sword, right? Now, this looked like the same, but they not. Because remember, it's two females that has to crown him. Two females has to crown him, right? They have to say he's worthy. So you got two different. Now look at the symbols. 5% nation, remember? Now watch this one. Remember the dove? Remember the dove? Now watch this. Look at her. The redhead princess, Scotta. You see? Now watch this. Watch this. Who is this one? Who is she? That's Sophia. This is Sophia. When you look up Sophia, this picture right here comes up under the name of Sophia. So now, I got to tell y'all what that means later. Now you see the black and the red rose, right? And they say that's death, and this is love. So you got to rise up. The rose also means resurrection. So by the way of love, death, we are reborn, right? Now, this particular chain, this is symbolic. Now, this is the 7 chakra stone that is used as the pendulum. Now, remember, the pendulum is the compass in the craft. So the pendulum has to be controlled by a master who knows how to use it. Now, that's the 7 chakra stone. Now, remember, he made allegiance with the 7 masters of the cycles. But this chain right here is broken. See? So now, he broke free. This is broke. I didn't break this on purpose. It was broke on its own. I still wear it, even while it's broke. Right? So that's the broken chains. Those were the chains that held us in bondage that I broke back in June. Now, when you look over here, you see this tree? Now, we're going to get into this tree because within here is the runes. Now, this ties me to the Odinists. Thor's hammer and the Odinists. See, this is how I was able to defeat Thor, by being able to scry the runes. So, I go in and I find out that there are the runes. See? Onyx runes. All this is, and then when you get over here, this is called the staff of Hermes. This is the staff of Hermes. Right? So that's my Greek connection. Now I gotta add, all this shit gotta add up at the end of the day. This is all my receipts. This is the ankh. It's not made out of wood. It's made out of a resin substance. So I had to find this ankh. And the person that had this particular ankh, the exact one I was looking for, lived entirely on the other side of the country. And I was told that, well, I told this person that at the close of the age, right, at the close of the age, that they can have whatever they want because they fought with the Scorpion King in the past over many times. So this time they don't have to fight in the blood and the gore. They can get to do something enjoyable in this lifetime. So I found it. See, I got to find all this shit to make the dots connect in order. So right now I'm showing y'all the receipts. Right? Now, you seen the staff of Hermes. Now this right here, this is the staff of Moses. Right? Because I got to have this to show that my wisdom exceeds that of the false prophets. So I got to have the staff of Moses too. Right? Which I could go into the story of Moses, but at this time it's too late in the hour. I already been over it before. Okay, now, remember yesterday I told y'all this is my Japanese, my Asian connection to Sun Wukong. It also takes me to the Shaolin Temple. Right? And it also takes me to the Bushido warriors and the samurai. Right? The Bushido warrior code and the samurai. So this, I had to get this This is the receipt. Now look, this is the flag of the United Nubian Nation of Moors. Look in there. That's the Amun, right? That was the unknown guy. He's not unknown anymore because he's in the sun. He's in the spotlight now. He's in the sun. That's the Hua. That means love in every language around the world, right? So we're going to get into all of this. And this right here, this is a direct link to Sun Wukong. This is one of those staffs that pops out, and that goes to the legend. And then you have the Book of Life, right? Now you see what she's doing? Noble Drew Ali says sometimes he had to go around his elbow to get to his thumb. But what is she pointing at? As above, so below. So now what has to happen is, just like he up here writing, I got to decode some shit from the receipts, which starts with this. I bought this today. I'm going to show y'all the receipt for this. Now notice this A. This is the A tone. Now notice where the arrow is pointing. Look at her finger. So it's telling me to give y'all the A tone. Now remember the Million Man March from Farrakhan said when you hear the A tone, we'd be at one, right? So now these are the things that I'm going to be dealing with today. Y'all see them? These are the receipts. Even this paper receipt this paper receipt was a clue. And when we go over that, y'all gonna be blue back. All right. So these are the things that I'm working on. These are the receipts. This is the breadcrumbs that was left for Hansel and Gretel. Right. So I got a couple more things I got to go put in order, and then we're gonna get into what all this really do mean. Right. So share this video so when I come back later, people can get to see this shit. They can get to see what else I got to show them. I'm going to be putting this couple of videos up on my page, in which you can express the love of the self. So from the mind of the master, a master, for there are many. From the mind of a master, meaning one who raised himself up from the gutter and to the level of unraveling the riddle that was the mystery of the ages. In order to do so, along the path, we encounter people that have good hearts, that are deserving to be rewarded for their portion in the raising of the self. So they earn what they work for in order to aid you. So I'm going to do a couple more invites here. And I'm going to be done with that. So no man of his own can attain to infinite wisdom without a certain type of inspiration within himself. This inspiration has to be rooted in the positive self-esteem and a belief in the self that you can accomplish something so superhuman, so to speak, so all-encompassing. You have to believe that if nobody else on this planet can do it, you can do it. Self-confidence is required. Where there is no self-love, there is no self-confidence. Because you can't believe in yourself if you don't love yourself. So the master knows this. The master knows that as he walks his journey and he finds those that he raised along the way, whether they are knowing or unknowing, the alchemists convert energy in order to turn the negative into the positive. And according to your works, you are rewarded. So, if a person of royal standing is to give his word, if you participate in me finding myself to the level I request of you, I will reward you with this thing at the end. That is the agreement. In self-love, royalty honors that because that person performed their function. If you do not honor your word, you can't love yourself. And so your word becomes binding upon agreement. And this is why you make no agreement without a full and competent understanding. This is how we got tricked into the deceptive contract that held us in bondage until now. But the terms of the contract have been met. And we, the indigenous people of this land, have reclaimed our heritage and our right. And I hold first claim of right by baptismal right and by work and effort and suffering and sacrifice. None of those things would be possible if I did not love myself first. Because you have to love yourself enough to be unconditional when you share what you become. You have to be unconditional when you share what you become. Because at that point, there's no selfishness attached to your expressions of love. Selfishness is rooted in the ego. But the open expression and reward that comes with the love of self being shared to those who are worthy by works and by suffering to receive that love, they should have the opportunity to claim their reward. That's the highest self sense of honor of self and love of self. If you consider yourself to be of the royal line, we don't get into I love you for me scenarios because the universe don't work like that. It's not selfish. It's not self-centered, and it's not craving of attention. So when the balance of the universe is found in a physical form, it has earned a right to reap a certain reward for effort. So you balance the internal expressions of love with the external um, lens in which you can view it. So I gotta see a chick, she's pleasing to the eye. That don't mean that he's gonna love her. The amount of love he got in himself is going to be reflected in the amount of himself he see in her as a unit, balancing out masculine and feminine. Keeping these in harmony within the self will allow him to see her best qualities as divine feminine masculine, the exact polar opposite of the self. And knowing that she has endured her suffering and she's performed her works, and she has become more than what she was by effort, pulling herself up by her bootstraps, he should know then that she is worthy to receive him giving of himself in its totality. The greatest form of that self-expression of love is to freely give it to those who deserve it. And those who don't, they shouldn't have it. But you still have to give them enough of it to understand that it's worth being part of that kingdom of righteousness that subsists off the love, that unconditional love, like a mother for a child and a child for his mother. We tend to forget that with great wisdom comes great struggle. And through the struggle, we learn many things. The pride in the self, when positively produced by achievement, becomes the fervor of the love of the self. It's the emotive reflection of what's deeper within. You can't love externally before you can learn internally. If you are fractured love being on the inside, then you will give fractured love to the outside. So you have to heal yourself first. At what point, once you went inside and dealt with your inner conflict, walk across the burning sand, so to speak, face all of those dark corners of the mind that nobody else dare venture, in order to move the alchemy in the proper synthesis. But just because the master set a thing in a particular pattern, masters do things for effect on the self and effect on others, in order to continue the growth process. Think not the mind of man can encompass the mind of the masters, but think not that the mind of the masters can encompass the mind of God, for she is infinite. We understand the structure. We understand the position of the woman. In our culture, this is a non-female oppressive system. This is a protect the children first at all cost system. This is a don't feed our baby to the wolves system. That's what we was under before they came. And they know who they are. So they're going to have to bring the paperwork out. They're not going to be able to keep it concealed. And we're going to get this all straightened out. But think not because the external expression is visible that the internal presence is not there. Because love is love that comes from within the heart. And it is from within the heart that it radiates out. And that the marriage takes place. But everything for an effect. And every effect for a cause. And every cause for a final solution. We have to understand this. Just because it looked like the drunk man stumbled does not mean drunk men fall. The wisdom of the ages has its way of getting effect. And sometimes the effect is to have his brethren push the other button to move him to the next level in order that things perform exactly as planned. And sometimes the people in the physical world only understand the physical representation of what the spiritual thing really is. So we have to draw an alignment, a balancing of the physical with the spiritual, a sacred union of heaven and earth. Keep forgetting that we not new to this. But everything has to be done in a particular format in order that each effect is affected effectively. The march, the march is going to be successful. It already is. Everything for an effect. Every button triggers a switch, and every switch pushes a button. Eventually, you run out, and you're at your destination. So, with that button being pushed, then flips a switch, and so the marathon continues, and we keep going.